Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. My name is Miles Fiecher. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the Assistant Director of Pre-Orientation and Operations here at American University. I work in New Student Family Programs, so I oversee pre-orientation programs and work in New Student Orientation as well. Here with me tonight, I have Sarah Resendiz in the Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. I'll let her introduce herself in just a second. And we also have one of our orientation chairs, Gauri Naidu, who will be helping us MC tonight. So she'll be helping us with Q&A or any tech-related issues. She'll be there to provide support. But without further ado, I'll hand it over to Sarah to introduce herself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Resendiz. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the coordinator of programs, operations, and finance here at AU Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. So basically, one of my larger roles at the university is our big one-day service events. So we have signature ones like the one you'll hear about today, MLK Day of Service, and then also if any clubs or students are looking to do days of service both on and off campus, I can help kind of coordinate and facilitate those events as well. So I'm really excited to talk with you all tonight and tell you a little bit more about what we've got going on this summer.
All right. So as you know, this webinar is about pre-orientation programs. So this is a short agenda that we have. We'll talk about in general what are pre-orientation programs, why we have them, why they matter. And then Sarah will talk a bit about Venture to Volunteer. We'll then move to two other pre-orientation programs, Civics in Action, which is our civic engagement focused pre-orientation program, and then AU Outdoors, which is outdoors focused. And then we'll have a little bit more information about eligibility and registration steps. So I'm going to pass it off to Sarah to get us started.
Awesome. So we keep seeing pre-orientation programs or POPs, as we like to call them. But what is a pre-orientation program? So we have different themes for these pre-orientation programs, but all of them are multi-day experiences where our students will move in before the formal orientation program. It means that they get to get a head start of getting to learn AU, getting to learn DC. They get to build community early, especially because all of these pre-orientation programs are themed. They get to meet other incoming students and maybe even upperclassmen that kind of share the same interests as them. It's 3 days of really fun programming, really intentional programming that we do to engage the students really in these themes of these pre-orientation programs. And they get to learn DC. We get them off of campus as kind of the first thing they do when they get to campus. I'm sure many of you guys have toured or at least have seen pictures online. AU is a beautiful campus, but we are tucked away in the lovely border of Maryland up in the Northwest. So these programs are a great way that you get to see downtown, get to learn the metro, get to learn the bus system, and get to really see the city within that cohorted experience. So it's a lot more formal of a way to get out and get to learn. So it's just a really awesome opportunity for our incoming students to get a head start before they get started with orientation. So Venture to Volunteer, this is a pre-orientation program that is operated outside of my office, the Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. A little history for you. So there's been some sort of freshman service experience since 1990. So we're coming up on almost 40 years of some sort of service project that incoming students complete. Venture to Volunteer was also more well known as Explore DC when it first reached our office in 2017. So we're coming up on 10 years of Explore DC, which is awesome. So Venture to Volunteer, the whole impetus of this program is to get students off of campus into the city to learn the communities, learn the people there, learn about kind of the social issues that DC faces specifically. So that's one day of programming where our students will go out in small groups, typically about 5 to 7 underclassmen, and then 2 to 3 volunteer upperclassmen to lead these groups. So they'll go into the neighborhoods, have a whole day of exploring, of getting to learn the community. And then the next day, the students go back into the community and work with our fantastic nonprofit partners on a service project tied to what they kind of learned in that neighborhood tour the day before. Inclusive of Venture to Volunteer, we also do programming to bring the message of Venture to Volunteer to campus. So on Sunday and Monday of our pre-orientation programs, we'll be hosting on-campus activities, kind of within the theme of Venture to Volunteer, so highlighting DC and service partners on campus. These events are open to any AU student who's on campus. So if you're one of our civics and action students or one of our AU outdoors students, these are still open to you. Or if you want to drag your roommates out to do something, we are still in the process of nailing down the details. But some fun things we've done in the past is we've done a salsa dance party where we've brought in a dance instructor to teach salsa, learn about the rich Latinx community here in DC. We've brought in nonprofit partners to talk about how AU students can engage with DC. We've brought in the curator of DC's Go-Go Museum, who is an AU faculty member or
Sorry.
professor. Um, so yeah, we have on-campus activities, but most of the programming will happen off-campus. So our students will go out in their two groups. They'll stay with the same students, small groups every day, which is really awesome. And we tend to pair them based on the issue areas that they're interested in. So if they're interested in food insecurity, we'll put them all in a group. So yeah, that's a little bit about Venture to Volunteer. And then Miles, I'll pass it off to you to talk about our other pre-orientation programs.
Of course. I see a couple raised hands. I just want to note that you can ask questions using the Q&A feature, and we'll be happy to answer them at the end of our presentation. And I appreciate that. So next, we'll be talking about civics in action. Civics in action is focused on civic engagement again. This is an opportunity for incoming first year students to engage in dialogue across difference, but also it has a focus on leadership development. So we kind of build the leadership experience by talking about civic engagement, but also how it starts with the personal, university, uh, the city, and then the national level being here in DC. So there's a lot of really great experiences for our Civics in Action participants. Last year's highlights are actually pictured in this photo. This is an AU alum that was working at the World Bank, and she talked about how AU was a transformative experience for her. So she came, she spoke with students, she, connected with them, wanted to connect with them on LinkedIn, and provided herself as a resource. And that is something that we continue to plan on doing throughout, this year's iteration as well. We actually hope to expand on that. For Civics in Action, we have a orientation chair who's a student coordinator for the program. He is very involved on campus. He currently works at the National Air and Space Museum, as well as doing an internship at Baltimore Washington International Airport. He is extremely civically minded and focused. And he's actually touring the Obama Library today, which I am jealous of. And he has a lot of passion that's going into this program. So we really are intentional about pairing the upperclassmen leaders with the participants. A lot of intentionality goes into that because we want them to make connections that will be lasting during their time at AU. So, this is really important, we believe, to help students integrate into the DC civic community. oftentimes people understand that DC has, the Capitol and it has the Supreme Court and the of Congress. And we definitely highlight those features in our program, but we also take a critical lens on what it means to be civically engaged in the city of Washington, D.C. It has a extensive history that we cover, and that includes public office as well as nonprofits and activist groups. So that is just a little bit about civics in action. And moving on to our other program is AU Outdoors. AU Outdoors is an opportunity to connect with the natural landscape in the Washington, D.C. area. So we are right next to the Appalachian Mountains. We have the Shenandoah Valley National Park in our backyard. It is a wonderful experience, and many people in the area take advantage of having it in our backyard. So there is a lot of ropes courses and hiking that's included in this program. We encourage the students to build connections, and we have intentional partnerships with the students. Like I said again, so last year, the president of the Outdoors Club was the main person coordinating the experience for our AU Outdoors program and kind of created like a direct pipeline of getting students involved with the Outdoors Club, which is a very popular student organization on campus. This opportunity is open to students of all skill levels. So we take in mind that some people might be brand new to outdoor activities. We want to include them in the process as well. And yeah, we also have a focus on leadership as well in this program. So we cover Clifton Strengths, which is an assessment that focuses on individual leadership skills. And then we talk a little bit about how that shows up in the outdoors sphere, how you can engage in leadership even outdoors. So just looking at a quick comparison of the programs, here's a little breakdown of things, if you will. Venture to Volunteer has that service focus, as Sarah shared with us. There's a community service day in DC. There's site visits. It is very like on the ground, hands-on. Civics in Action is focused again, hands-on on the ground, but in a different way. So there is, tours of the Capitol and those types of things. Also, meeting with local nonprofits and agencies, meeting with AU alum that are working in the public sector or kind of like civically engaged. So that is the focus for that pre-orientation program. And then finally for AU Outdoors, that is for students who want to get outdoors more. Honestly, there's a lot of jitters and excitement about coming to a new place and getting to go on a hike and make friends before you even like start classes or attend orientation is one of the best ways to get those jitters out and start feeling comfortable right off the bat. When we were talking about the outcomes or goals of our pre-orientation programs, retention is definitely one of those major components that we look for and was a driving force in creating our pre-orientation programs. Retention is it has been proven that cohorts of any kind have been significant in shaping the experience of students as they go from each year of their university experience. The last thing that I'll note is all pre-orientation programs include early move-in as well as a welcome dinner in the evening. That welcome dinner features a welcome with the president of American University, Jonathan Alger. So it's a really great experience to meet with AU leaders from literally the first uh, moment you step on campus. He's very interested in getting to connect with incoming first year students and wants to make himself as accessible as possible. There will also be introductions and mixers and those types of things that happen on August 22nd as a part of that welcome. So, just sharing a little bit of what I talked about. That first day, the POP experience that everyone will go through, there is early move-in, then there's a welcome dinner, there's group introductions, and then at the end of every day, there will be like a preview of what will be happening the next day. So this is really important for Venture to Volunteer and AU Outdoors as they're, going out in the community or hitting the trails, as well as for Civics in Action as they might be meeting with local leaders. So, um, as you could imagine, it's important to have like hiking shoes for AU Outdoors. And it might be good to have business casual for Civics in Action. So those are the types of things that we go over with each day. Okay. And now I'm going to pass it off to Sarah.
Thank you, Miles. So eligibility and key details, who can register? Incoming first year students are eligible for this. So whether you're a freshman, if you are a transfer student, you are eligible to register. I did see a question about our AU Cornerstone students who are going to be in Madrid. Unfortunately, this is just for the main AU campus here in DC. So students who will not be in DC this upcoming fall would not be able to participate in the pre-orientation programs. So students from any school or college, no prior outdoor experience needed for AU Outdoors, as Miles was saying, no physical requirements for any program. If you do need accommodations, you can reach out to either of our programs, and we are happy to make dietary, any physical needs, accessibility needs. We are willing to work with our students to make sure that they are able to participate. Um, for those who are not eligible, again, as I was saying, those students who will not be based in DC, any students who are in a living learning community, which we will expand on that in the next slide, are not eligible to participate just due to the schedules that they have also before orientation. All three of these programs, will be running from August 22nd to the 24th. So our students have to be able to move in on that 22nd. We do arrange that early movements. So there's nothing the students will have to do to be able to get that early move in, but you'll just need to be able to do that to fully participate in the program. Um, Registration does close June 3rd. So just make sure if you're interested, please make sure you have that on your calendars. I know a lot of our students are still in school right now, finishing up high school. So thinking about what you're going to do when you first come to college probably isn't at the forefront of your mind. But just to have that as your awareness, registration will close June 3rd. And then each program does have limited capacity. So please make sure if there's one that you're really interested in that you're registering as soon as possible. Each program does have a fee associated with it, but if there is some financial issues, just please reach out to either Miles or I, and we can see if there's any discussion we can have around those participation fees as well. But looking at the LLCs, for those who don't know what an LLC is, um, LLCs are living learning communities. These aren't just for incoming freshmen or students, but that's largely when our students are recruited into LLCs. These are cohorted experiences throughout the entire school year. Sometimes they are multi-year programs. They operate out of housing and residence life. So typically, if our student is in a living learning community, they'll be on the same floor as their fellow students, and we'll have programming throughout the school year to do with their community. Um, because of kind of schedules that LLCs have, a lot of the LLCs have onboarding and like welcome events on those Sundays and Mondays before orientation, which conflicts with the pre-orientation programs. Students who are in an LLC unfortunately aren't eligible to participate in pre-orientation programs. So LLCs will include AU Honors, University College, the Public Health Scholars, the Politics, Policy, and Law PPL Scholars, and then the Global Scholars. years. Some of these are first 1 year programs, some of them multi-year, but all of them will have some sort of thing that will conflict with pre-orientation programs, so will not be able to participate. Just as a note, though, if a student is a Lincoln Scholar, which is technically classified as an LLC, they don't have any programming that interferes with pre-orientation programs. So if you are a Lincoln Scholar, you are kind of exempt from this reason why that LLCs can't participate. So yeah, if you fall under any of these categories, unfortunately, you aren't able to participate in any of the pre-orientation programs. Perfect. Well, now that you've heard a little bit about what these pre-orientation programs are, if you have not registered already or you are interested in registering, we have the QR code up here. All three of the pre-orientation programs are housed in the same form. So you just select the pre-orientation program that you're interested in. You complete the form. It'll ask you for payment right away. So you can just get that all done right away and then watch for an email confirmation. Just as a reminder, registration does close on June 3rd, 2026. So you'll want to get that done sooner rather than later. If you want to find it as well, all of our social media pages have links to it. So AU Orientation on Instagram, AU CLCE on Instagram. It is also on the orientation website. So if you, I'm sure you guys have all been taking a look at that orientation page, especially the new student checklist, which is incredibly helpful. But if you go to the AU orientation page, you should be able to find a link to register for the pre-orientation programs as well. Um, Awesome. So we kind of breezed through that, which is wonderful. But that means that we have plenty of time for questions. I know we've been kind of taking a look at the questions that have been coming in. We can answer these live. Miles, I don't know if we want to read any of these out loud and answer them out loud, how we want to do this. I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. So I see someone just asked, do POP students sleep in their dorm rooms? Will there be time for parents to help them set up their rooms? So yes and yes. So with early move-in, basically students will move in around like 12, I believe, or earlier. They'll have a few hours to get set up, move in, at the very least, drop everything off and like, get things sorted. And then they will have time to spend with their families. Goodbyes are important, for sure. And then programming will happen in the afternoon through the evening, kind of around like 4 p.m. ish. So we definitely encourage you to like still spend time with your family. Students will be spending the night in their dorm rooms. They kind of get a jump on moving in if their roommates are moving in later. So yeah, thank you for that question. The next question is, will students miss any first year campus orientation activities? The answer is no. If anything, they'll get to do more. So, like Sarah mentioned, we have those pop at night programs. We're working really well to bring some really interesting opportunities to our PLP students who will all be able to um, attends them. So, no, they will not miss any new student orientation activities. New student orientation begins Tuesday morning. The pre-orientation programs take place Saturday through Monday. Um, Next question. Do students register through their AU portal? The answer is no. So if you look at the QR code, you can scan that and it'll take you to the registration page. Or you can look on Instagram, or if you type in American University pre-orientation, it'll take you directly to the pre-orientation programs page and there'll be a registration link. So that is the best way to sign up for pre-orientation programs. Sarah, do you want to take the next one?
Yes, I do. I don't want to give a definitive. So the next question is, are LLCs different than specific housing communities like Gender Sankofa? Those are technically LLCs. They are living learning communities, but I actually am not sure if they have any programming or that they're moving in early, like the other LLCs we mentioned. So if you are a member of a themed community, and I can read off the list, we have Sankofa House. We have First Flight Floor, and we have the Eagles in Community Floor. These are three themed housing that technically fall under LLC. So if you are interested in pre-orientation and you are a member of one of these themed communities, please feel free to just shoot me an email. I will confirm with the themed community programming leads if there's anything that would interfere with your ability to do a pre-orientation program. I don't want to give a definitive answer here and now, just in case you are able to. So yes, if you do fall under one of these themed communities and you are still also interested in a pre-orientation program, our emails are all on here. So please feel free to reach out to me and I will get you a definitive answer. Awesome. And I can grab the next one as well. Through which department do you accept or deny LLC? So something like AU Honors or university college, that's something that's part of your acceptance program. So I think all students are eligible for university college, and that's something you do when you either sign up for or you don't when you are kind of declaring to AU. And for the other programs, some of them are dependent on what school you're in. So PLL, the Public Health Scholars, that's something you should have heard about when you were applying to the schools. If you aren't sure, there's a great website where they have all of the information on the Housing and Residence Life program about living learning communities. So you can look into if there's like a specific LLC you're not sure about. They should have the contact details on there to see if you're eligible, if you're in it, and if you'd like to join. Those are all on the Housing Residence Life Living Learning Community, and I can see if I can drop a link in the chat as well. Beautiful. Okay, here's another one about LLCs. So the Cornerstone program, there's two different types of Cornerstone. Typically AU Cornerstone, this is an internship program where first year students will kind of learn about the internship process and do an internship their first year. There's also AU Cornerstone, which is the abroad program where some students will be spending their first semester in Madrid, and then another cohorts of students, I believe it's Scotland this year, they'll be spending their spring semester. Miles, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the AU Cornerstone programming interferes with pre-orientation programs.
Not entirely sure, but
Okay.
I can get that information. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll tack this on similar to the themed programming, the themed community housing. I don't know for sure. So if you are a member of AU Cornerstone and you do also want to do a pre-orientation program, just shoot Miles or I an email and then we can confirm with the Cornerstone programming. The only thing I know that is a definitive no would be our students who are doing their first semester in Madrid. They just won't be here, for the programming. Awesome.
I will take the next one. Do parents just need to stick around an extra day for the regular parent orientation? So, family and supporters orientation is on Sunday and Monday. So, if family members want to attend family and supporters orientation, they will need to stay another day to attend. And then, how many students participate in each program? So, great question. Thank you for asking. Uh, Civics in Action and AU Outdoors are currently capped at 30 participants, and then Venture to Volunteer is capped at 60. That is all the questions we have in our queue. If there are any more questions, feel free to raise your hand or drop a question in the Q&A. We're happy to stick around for a few more minutes and answer any questions.
happy to expand too. If you want to hear more about what we've done programming wise in the past, I could talk a little bit about the nonprofit partners that we've worked with historically. Um, yeah, if anyone has any questions about the actual content of the pre-orientation programs, we can also expand on that too since we have some time. But we'll leave some room for questions. Also, I did drop that link in the chat. If anyone's curious about LLCs here at American University, that link should be for everyone to be able to click, so you can read a little bit more there. Perfect. Okay. So yes, our community partners. So DC is a really, really fascinating place. We have over 15, almost 15,000 nonprofits in the city of DC alone. So a lot of the work that my office does is really kind of narrowed down. Nonprofits that are looking to do work directly with American University students. We've built some really, really great relationships with our nonprofit partners over the years. So there are a few nonprofits that we've done work with almost every year that we've done venture to volunteer. One of our strongest partners, I would say, is Bread for the City. Bread for the City is a nonprofit that kind of does everything, and they have multiple locations across the city. Primarily, it started off as a food pantry, and a lot of the work that they want to do is kind of building back agency when it comes to going to a food pantry. So, all people who utilize the food pantry at Bread for the City, they get basically points assigned to them. So, how many family members they have, any dietary restrictions, they get a number of points that they get to spend, and then the whole pantry is set up like a shopping, like a grocery store. So people are able to go and kind of have agency over the food that they get to select, which is really great, especially because, people like to cook what they know. So they get a little bit more agency and a little bit more variety around what they're bringing home. They also have a law clinic, so people who are facing housing issues, they have lawyers on staff to help support them. They have doctors, primary care physicians, and it really interacts as well because when you see a doctor can actually prescribe you a diet at the food pantry. So say you're dealing with pre-diabetes, they can write you a prescription for groceries that you go and pick up at the food pantry. Um, they also have a community garden where they grow vegetables for a lot of the produce that they put into their stuff. And they also have a clothing drive where they have clothing for people who need to do job interviews. People will donate business suits and stuff. And then they have a farmers market that's open to anyone who lives in the neighborhood. So if you don't regularly attend the food pantry, you can stop by and get some fresh produce. So what our students will do is kind of do a lot of the behind the scenes work supporting them, organizing donations, helping to like shuck corn, helping to organize donated clothing for the closet that they have. So it's just a really great way that they can see the community and get to hear these stories while they're giving back. Another nonprofit partner that we love to work with is Alliance of Concerned Men. This is a group that works out of Southeast DC and does a lot of conflict resolution in the neighborhood. They have like a mentorship program where a lot of older members in that neighborhood who maybe did not have the easiest time growing up, maybe got in a little bit of trouble. They then go into high schools and middle schools and kind of share their stories and try to help guide the kids that still live there on a better path. So our students really sit down and have these conversations with a lot of the people in the neighborhood, and then they just go around and see the neighborhood. They do like a barbecue, so they cook and like give back to the community, and then also sometimes they do community cleanup where they go through that part of the city in Southeast and like help pick up trash and make the neighborhood look a little bit more beautiful. But that's really a great way where students can see DC kind of in like the opposite corner of where we are up in Northwest. So those are just some examples of the variety of work that we do with our service projects. We help with education, like we have some schools where we go in and help the students prep all their study materials right before the school year starts. Um, Yeah, it's just a lot of great ways that they can sit and be in community and learn about a lot of the different nonprofits. But we try to pair students based on in the application what topics they're interested in, and then find them a nonprofit partner within their field of interest. So there's a lot of variety of the nonprofit partners we work with, really intentionally, just so that we can kind of give students what they're looking for. Sorry, that was very long-winded. So I hope I'm really passionate about our partners, and I hope our students are too. So,
Any more questions we can answer?
you know
Is
what?
this the
Yep.
link?
Yep. You know why? Because I just sent it to the hosts and the panelists. You guys aren't
Ah,
hosts or panelists. There we go. You know what? At this rate, might as well drop the link to apply as well, right? There we go. Okay.
any
Already
other
sent it.
questions? Happy to take any questions you have.
There we go.
Something I can share is that, it's a very interesting time to be in DC right now. We are celebrating the 250th anniversary of America. So, with that, the university has a very big push to promote events that reflect on America. So, Sarah and I and our student coordinators have worked very diligently, and we've secured a grant for a 250 plus initiative. So we are happy to be sharing more information on that to come. But we just wanted to share that because it's really exciting.
I will also say, I'm looking at the application here. So we mentioned three pre-orientation programs that are available for your students. When you're looking at the application, you might see a fourth one called District Scholars Pre-orientation. This is only available for the District Scholars students, so you can completely ignore that one. That's why we haven't shared it here. District Scholars is a whole separate program, but we are doing a pre-orientation for them, so that's why you'll see it listed on here, but there's only three available for the general incoming students. So just in case you see that and you're a little confused why we didn't talk about that, that's why. But if you are a district scholar and you are interested in doing the district scholars pre-orientation, um, you can reach out to us as well, but you should receive that information separate.
We still have about 20 folks on the call. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat now so we can answer them for you. So we have a question. What is an LLC? So an LLC is a living learning community. There are many different types. Some are based on affinity, so shared community background. Others are focused on specific scholarship or career interest. And that is basically a place where students live together either in the same building or on the same floor of a residence hall. So they are all kind of together throughout the experience, and many of them have their own pre-orientation experiences that focus on, building the bonds within that LLC. So that's unfortunately why they aren't able to um, participate in our pre-orientation programs. Is there's a lot of overlap with the programs, and we don't want, there is a cost associated with our pre-orientation programs, so we don't want someone to pay for the program but not get the full experience.
Also, just to kind of follow up on LLCs, so doing a little poking around, University College is the largest LLC. I think it's eligible for all incoming students, incoming freshmen at least. When they're applying, that's something that they can do. There was a question about AU Cornerstone earlier. Doing a little poking, AU Cornerstone is actually a subsect of University College, so it does fall under that UC umbrella. So if you are an AU Cornerstone student, you're technically also a University College student, which means you would not be eligible for pre-orientation. So if anyone is an AU Cornerstone, just know that that falls under the LLCs that aren't eligible.
We have about 10 folks still left on the call. So please submit your questions. Um, and we're going to get wrapping up shortly, probably ending the call around 6:45. Yeah, we have one question. Could you review Civics in Action one more time? So basically, Civics in Action is a pre-orientation program that is focused on civic engagement. So the idea is that, as you may know, many students that come to AU are interested in public administration or working public jobs. So we also have a very deep alumni community of people working in the public sector. So basically, Civics in Action exposes incoming first year students to other students and alum who are working in the public sector or have internships or interests in, civic engagement, public office, those types of things, as well as local community leaders, uh, local nonprofit organizations, and public officials themselves. So we take a look at things from the university level up to the national level. And we don't skip the city level. The city level is really what we focus on the most because many students get involved in the national sphere of things and forget to get involved in community office. So that is really one major point. Last year, we had a tour with Justice Walks DC, which is a local tourism company that focuses on telling the history of leadership and activism in Washington, D.C. We also do leadership development. So we did like a leadership workshop. We talked about engaging in leadership with empathy and that leadership that reflects your values. We there were also talks from AU alum that are working in international organizations such as the World Bank. And our current student coordinator is putting a lot of time and effort into developing a impactful experience for the students. So, if you have any additional questions about civics in action, I'm more than happy to answer them on email if you'd like to give you a bit more background on the program. Okay, we are getting right around to wrapping it up here. So we greatly appreciate you joining us. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to myself or Sarah. You can also email the orientation email or DM us on Instagram. If you haven't already, please follow us on social media. Uh, we put out a lot of content, and we are preparing for your first year students to come. So, with that, thank you so much for attending tonight, and we hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was great getting to speak with you.